Can you hear me? Okay. In the spring of 2012, I was repairing a building here in Aalborg with the intention of opening a new gallery called WeArT. The house gable was filled with tags and trashy stuff, so I decided to paint it over. I was interested in the street art scene, and I contacted Danish artist from Copenhagen, John, and he made this mural painting called Bird with a Bite. And after more than 2 years, the wall is still intact. People respect it, and that's nice. And in fact, several people have got a tattoo with this exact same motif. The reality of today is that very little contemporary art enriches Aalborg or the people living in it. Street art, public art already exists in Denmark and can be seen in several cities. But I start thinking about making a project. 200 meters from where I live, a guy called Mads lives with his family. Mads is one of the leaders of the student house, and he had the same thoughts as me about making some urban art. So we started to outline a concept. We called it WeArT, a private initiative by two guys. Mads and I, we both read the American magazine Juxtapose, and the main criteria was that we wanted to strive after a very high level. We wanted some of the best international artists from the street art scene. The ambition was to go for some of the front cover names and to have a variety in expressions and diversity in style. And we got confirmations from 10 artists and luckily enough, 10 walls. We started making a lot of research, websites, blogs, magazines, galleries, etc. One of the leading festivals in the world of street art is in Stavanger, Norway, called WeArT. We got in contact with the people behind and the city council and got evaluation reports and things like that. And through this, we learned about the do's and don'ts regarding this kind of project. We started out 2 years ago, walking around the streets of Aalborg, taking pictures, measuring walls. Public art is not only a way of making art accessible for everybody, you also force people to look at something they haven't been asking for. So taking that to mind, we strive to find walls situated a bit off-road and out of the public eye, in a backyard or around a corner. Adding to this, we also had some important technical criteria about surfaces and dimensions. For example, one of the big problems was parking. Although we had a lot of permissions from city architects, etc., we had big difficulties with people who didn't want to move their cars for a period. Actually, there was a doctor, he didn't want to move his car, so every day for a whole week we had to wait until 5 o'clock before we could move the lift and start working on the wall. The mural paintings are meant to be there on a permanent basis for at least several years, so therefore all the walls needed to be well prepared before the artist arrives. So we initiated a cooperation with the local tech college, where students who didn't have any internship, they helped preparing with the walls. One of our main partners in the WeArT project is Flügger Denmark. They support us with a lot of stuff, but a lot of these artists, they use specific materials, so we had to bring a lot of sprays, for example, from different brands, and special ink and brushes as well, and we had to bring a lot of the stuff home from abroad. Weather was also a problem for us. A lot of these guys, they travel all over the world all the time, so they have a very tight deadlines. We had to book their flights ahead, so if the weather was bad, we couldn't just have them to stay here for further time. And for example, Alex Diaz from Puerto Rico, he's well known among colleagues for being slow, very slow, and he had trouble with rain. So although we rebooked him and his assistant for 1 day, and new hotel, new flight, new lifts, it was still enough. It wasn't enough. So we had to bring him back for 4 days more, and it was new flights, new hotels, new lifts, and a lot of extra money spent. But as you can see, it was all worth. About communication, we had to balance the communication, because on the one hand we want to speak about the project, but on the other hand we had to respect that all these artists, they prefer to work without too much attention from the public. So we didn't tell about the specific addresses of all the walls. The local media, they hadn't paid the project very much attention, but internationally there's been a lot of media coverage, for example from Juxtapose. And I just got a mail this day for a few hours ago from the international magazine called Graffiti Art Magazine, and in the new issue, printed issue this October, there will be photos from WeArT. Besides the WeArT, the walls, we want to make a kind of a festival, so we want to add something additional to the mural paintings. And we had artist talks together with Kunsten. We had a Danish photographer coming with a big international project. We had a German curator from Berlin coming. And furthermore, we are actually a part of a book about street art that is going to be published in the summer of 2016 from Aalborg University. Making a project in the public space also creates a lot of challenges beside parking. We have to secure all the materials every night, making access for toilet, getting electricity, avoid disturbing neighbors with the lifts, etc. And all in all, we got very lucky. We only had cable drums stolen, brushes stolen, and signs smashed. And a few examples of some of the work. This is from Bonde from Ukraine. And this is actually an example of how many people you need to ask permission. You need to ask permission and get involved in a project at this scale. We had all the permission from city architect, the owner of the building, acceptance from the owner of the neighbor building. But should we also ask the girl who had rented a flat on the first floor opposite because the motif was just outside her balcony? Finton McGee, Australian guy, he made this mural for a private home, an elderly lady, sorry Elsa, who paints herself. And the painting is a comment to global warming. And again, you can see it's very discreet. This is Lichen from Vigo in Galicia, northern part of Spain. This mural is in a courtyard, and actually the building is owned by 7 people. So we had to convince everybody that this was a good idea. And there were some technical difficulties here about getting a lift able to get over to the angle. And finally, I'll show you a piece from Aris from Barcelona, Spain. He's only 26, but he's already an international star, hardworking, no sketch, he just fight the wall. And he's also a front cover artist from Juxtapose. And now, he's in Aalborg. Thank you.